The old jeep rumbled towards the manor, its headlights cutting through the thick Nsukka night. Inside, 4 friends, Emeka, the jovial leader, Ada, the skeptic, Chika, the timid one, and Obiora, the adventurous one, braced themselves for a night at the infamous Ravenwood Manor. Built in the early 1900s, Ravenwood Manor stood as a monument to a bygone era, shrouded in chilling tales and local legends. Its imposing silhouette against the crimson twilight sky sent shivers down their spines. Little did they know they were about to face the true horror that lurked within. As they stepped out onto the gravel driveway, a cold wind swept through the overgrown gardens, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something vaguely metallic. The front door creaked open as if beckoning them into the darkness that lay beyond. The air inside was heavy with the smell of mildew and decay, a testament to years of neglect. Emeka, ever the optimist, broke the uneasy silence. "Well, here we are, Ravenwood Manor in all its creepy glory." His attempt at humour did little to lighten the mood. The mansion was a labyrinth of dimly lit corridors and cavernous rooms filled with dusty furniture draped in white sheets. Cobwebs hung from every corner, whispering tales of forgotten times. As they explored, the weight of the house's history pressed down on them, suffocating any sense of adventure. "This place gives me the creeps," whispered Chika, her voice trembling. "Let's just hope we don't run into any ghosts." Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken fear. Emeka chuckled nervously. "Don't worry, Chika, it's just an old house." But even he couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. As night deepened, the shadows in Ravenwood Manor seemed to come alive. Strange noises echoed through the empty halls, the creak of floorboards, the rustle of curtains, whispers too faint to decipher. A cold draught snaked around their ankles, sending chills up their spines. Ada, trying to rationalize the events, dismissed them as their imaginations running wild. "It's just the wind, guys," she said, her voice lacking conviction. "Old houses make noises." But deep down, even she was starting to feel uneasy. Sleep was impossible. Every creak, every sigh of the wind, every rustle sent shivers down their spines. They huddled together in the living room, a single flickering lantern casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. A sudden crash from upstairs shattered the tense silence. All 4 of them jumped to their feet, their hearts pounding in their chests. "What was that?" gasped Chika, her eyes wide with terror. Emeka, his bravado shaken, grabbed a rusty poker from beside the fireplace. "Stay here," he whispered, his voice tight with fear. He crept towards the stairs, his every sense on high alert. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. A cold hand brushed against Ada's cheek, and she let out a blood-curdling scream. The others spun around to see her cowering on the floor, her eyes wide with terror, pointing at the empty space beside her. "Something touched me," she cried, her voice high-pitched and panicked. Section 5. The Game Afoot. Cautiously, Emeka made his way up the creaking stairs, each step echoing in the deathly silence. His heart hammered against his ribs, every nerve ending on high alert. The upper floor was shrouded in an eerie darkness that seemed to press in on him from all sides. A low guttural growl echoed from the end of the hallway, sending a shiver down his spine. He froze, his blood turning to ice. He could feel his breath catching in his throat, his pulse quickening. Something was hunting them. Slowly he crept forward, his grip tightening on the poker. As he approached the room from which the growl had originated, he noticed the door was slightly ajar. A faint light flickered from within. Emeka took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The room was empty, but the air was thick with the smell of decay and something else, something ancient and evil. The faint light he had seen emanated from a lantern hanging precariously from a hook on the far wall. He took a step inside, his eyes scanning the room for any sign of movement. It was then that he noticed the writing on the wall. It was scrawled in what appeared to be blood, the letters jagged and uneven. "Leave this place," it read, the words seeming to writhe on the wall as if alive. "You are not welcome here." Downstairs, the others waited with bated breath, their faces pale with terror. The silence was broken only by the sound of their own ragged breathing and the frantic thumping of their hearts. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed from upstairs. Ada gasped, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a sob. Chica buried her face in Obiora's shoulder, trembling uncontrollably. Obiora, his face ashen, looked at Ada, his eyes filled with a terror he couldn't disguise. "We have to get out of here," he whispered, his voice hoarse with fear. They raced towards the front door, their hearts pounding in their chests, but it wouldn't budge. It was as if an unseen force was holding it shut. Panic surged through them, threatening to consume them. "It's no use," Ada cried, her voice choked with fear. "We're trapped." A cold, disembodied laugh echoed through the house, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The laughter grew louder, more menacing, until it seemed to shake the very foundations of the house. Terror lent them strength, and they threw their combined weight against the door. It burst open, sending them sprawling onto the gravel driveway. They scrambled to their feet and didn't stop running until they were far away from the house. As they sped away from Ravenwood Manor, the image of the blood-red writing on the wall seared itself into their minds. They had escaped with their lives, but they knew they would never be the same. Ravenwood Manor stood silently in the moonlight, its dark windows like empty eyes watching them flee. The entity that haunted its halls remained, its presence a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked within. The haunting of Ravenwood Manor was far from over.